Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Power is power. We are doing our preseason power rankings and we're horrified. Let's talk ball. Oh. Framber Valdez.
Mr. Duncan the Tall.
Jonah Hillgiff, who's actually Paul DiPodesta. Hello, and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Feeling like a special ep. Gotta be honest with you people. It is February 25th. Still struggle with that month. Trev and I are running hot. We had a weekend. We had a night out. We kind of did, and we kind of owned the place. So we're feeling good about that. Baseball, we are getting closer and closer. Are we a month away? When's that Yankees-Giants opening night? The 25th.
25th.
Right? A month out from MLB baseball. We're going to be live streaming that. The WBC is going to be here in like a week. So it's all happening, people, and we're getting spring training action. We're getting all of it, Coach Trev. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I forgot that you weren't on the Monday episode. You were snowed in. But yes, we had a night out. A little too late, if we're being honest, for my body these days. But it was good to see you, Pop, always. People want to know, did we F or F? We F'd.
We F'd.
Yeah.
We F'd.
And I love power is power. That's my favorite
I know
line
you do.
from the show, I think.
When I had that, I was like, that brings you to the forefront because you're looking a little more powerful. Those trainer sessions are working out. And man, let's start talking ball, and we'll end with life advice per usual. But let's start talking ball because there's so many teams to talk about, and we started doing power rankings was last year mid-season, or do we do one before the season? We did one early, and people liked it, and it gives us a chance to talk about a chunk of the teams. I'll say right now, Coach, at the top, we both have the same one. And I think everyone around baseball, unless you're really hunting that click, has a different one. But the one is pretty obvious. Dude, I got lost. 2-7, I don't know. 9-15 all felt like the same team. And you and I were going through our team profile and projections. And as some of the people just saw, we're releasing. We're doing a little different format. We're grouping together some of the lesser teams, and then we'll start doing 3 teams together, 2 teams together. Just gives us a few less recording sessions, and we're full curtains. Like a lot of those episodes weren't getting the views they needed, so we tightened it up a little bit. That you guys have given us basically your fan power rankings. That this is the first time that you and me, it's like, okay, I got to really look at the Braves and the Mets and think about who I like more, the Padres and the Giants, the whoever it may be. That, man, this was kind of a brutal exercise.
Well, first of all, you don't have to win to have your fans be happy. That's what was just said out there in the street.
Dude.
So don't worry about that. Second, you haven't looked at my rankings?
I have not. I'm about to kind of live reveal that.
Oh, because there's a team that you just said that I have way high, and I think you're right. Like there is a consensus number one. And then after that, as I'm going through the rosters, I'm like, it feels like I'm trying to clickbait this, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I have some teams I feel like people are like, are you serious? But like, as I'm going through the rosters, that's how Coach Trev feels.
And that's I think that's where you and I probably both landed, because you're going through the recent history and obviously the powerhouses that jump out, and then you're trying to do a side-by-side, and you start wandering into the season like, okay, who's got the most like injury potential? And then you're like, what am I talking about? I don't care about that at all. Like power is power. But then you also start backtracking because you're like, well, what can I bank on? Like, what do I know is going to be there? And I might have accidentally walked into a little bit of clickbait, but we will see. Trev, let's start as we do. The Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah.
They are top team. And it was funny, our last power rankings, we do have a rolling power rankings document that Dalton's been keeping up on. Our last power rankings were August of last year. We both had the Dodgers third. Again, the regular season was kind of clunky. That pitching was really struggling. We obviously know what happened after that. And now they have Kyle Tucker and I don't know,
And
man.
Edwin Diaz.
And Edwin Diaz.
That was basically the only thing that was truly like a fault of theirs last year was they couldn't really figure out the bullpen. Specifically the back end of the bullpen. They obviously brought a ton of guys in, just didn't work out. And so what do? They get one of the best relievers in all of baseball to leave the Mets and come over and pitch for them. They bring in Edwin Diaz, still in the back there. I mean, we saw Will Klein kind of break out in the postseason. He's like an afterthought in their bullpen. Can he turn into something more? But still, Tanner Scott, Vesia. We'll see what Trinan if he's got anything left in the tank. But a ton of guys. Ben Kasparius just kind of there. But I think addressing your biggest weakness with the best option that you can get is kind of a sign of the times for the Dodgers right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, the layers that they have, like our guy Gavin Stone is like working his way back, and people were tweeting about him looking good the other day. And it's
no, he's not. He's in a different organization, isn't he?
No,
I thought he was.
I think the Dodgers.
Am I thinking of Gus Varlin? That's what I'm thinking of. Another brother. Yeah,
you're always thinking about Gus Varlin. No, man, like Brusdar Graterol. He was missing last year.
Thought about him.
Like he should be around. Like they have layers upon layers that their AAA staff. If we were doing team profile and projections, and we were like River Ryan, Gavin Stone, Landon Knack, Kyle Herr, we could. Like, that kind of seems like they could mess around with chasing a wild card or something. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. Mookie lost a ton of weight before the season last year. Let's see what happens. But if someone was doing a power rankings and they didn't have the Dodgers at the top, that's just being obnoxious. Now, on the other side of that, Trev, number 2 was my biggest struggle of this whole exercise. I'll let you kick off.
I did debate a number of different teams. Spoiler, it's not the Blue Jays, but I think a lot of people are probably putting the Blue Jays at number 2 just because what we saw them do in the postseason, go toe-to-toe with that powerhouse Dodgers team. I decided not to do that. It's a new year, and I think there is one team that addressed the need, is already a very, very good baseball team, and they kind of like hit all the freaking notes for me. And I am going with the Seattle Mariners as my number 2 team. We bring in a couple guys who I really like that I think fill out their roster. A core group of players. They bring Naylor back, obviously Julio and Cal there. The best to ever do it, Randy Arozarena. But to bring in Brendan Donovan to be at the top of your lineup to kind of solidify your infield there, I think is a banger of a move. I think the Rob Refsnyder move, right-handed bat off the bench for them, can platoon if need be. I think that's a great move for them. And then you have the pitching, you have all the starters, you have the bullpen. Like they do it right. I think this is one of, if not the best complete rosters in baseball. So I had to put them number 2.
Yeah, there's something to be said for, we kind of need to see Seattle do it, and they did to a degree last year. The Game 7, that rotation has been, it's one of the most stable things in baseball at this point. Between what Wu did last year, Gilbert, Castillo, Kirby, Miller, the bullpen looks strong. The lineup looks strong. There's young guys on the verge, both with Emerson in their name. Colt Emerson, potentially coming up in the infield. Emerson Hancock is like that. He's been waiting in line to pitch for this team. They're for what that rotation can provide you with a limited offense. And that offense doesn't feel limited anymore, man. 9th in runs, what Julio did last year, Cal, the Donovan ad, Naylor for a full season. Yes, like I debated them for 2. I put them at 3, man.
I didn't know. Nice.
Yeah.
You have Cal and Julio are 2 top 5 MVP candidates pretty much book it for the next how many years, right? So like you have that offensive core as well. And again, I think they did a good job adding around. And you mentioned some of the prospects coming up. I forgot about Ferrer coming over. So a left-handed weapon in the bullpen for them as well. They addressed their needs, and they did it quickly. Naylor right away. And then I think the Donovan trade is going to prove to be pretty damn big for them.
Yeah, and again, some of the little ads, like even Rob Refsnyder to just mash lefties, like that's an asset, man. They were one of the safest picks on the board that they made me question like their true power. But dude, as we go through these again, next 2 through 7 or 8, I'd say they all have question marks, and I think that's surprising. Coming off of last year when we started doing power rankings, and it was like the NL, bro. Like, how stacked is the Phillies, the Braves? Like, this National League is disgusting. And it's a little bit of a different tenor this year. I mean, we're going to talk about a lot of those teams, but everyone kind of took a baby step back, I'd say. While Seattle, it feels like they're rising, peaking, that even if 1 or 2 young guys appear, then they get looked at as a true power. So I had them 3. Trev, my 2 pick. I don't know if you're going to like it. My 2 pick is the SeatGeek Team Forecast. Brought to you by SeatGeek. We keep tabs on every team this offseason. Make sure you guys do with code TALKIN2026, 10% off your tickets at SeatGeek. My number 2 team, Coach Trev. I went with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God.
Trev, this was my thought process. As I was going through some of these teams we're about to talk about, you know, Toronto's obviously out there, a couple Phillies, a couple of the traditional powers. It was kind of where I landed with Seattle on just what do I believe in? And I believe that Milwaukee is going to have a top-tier bullpen. They prove that every year. Every year. Their starting pitching isn't like this chippy Milwaukee starting pitching. Woodruff's back, and he's nasty. I know he's got some injuries, but that is what it is. Mizorowski, like, that whole story, I'm not forgetting that. And he won't. Like, if he comes in a little low at camp this year, which I haven't seen yet, but that means he's throwing 101. Like, the guy's a freak show. And we know they're going to tap into a Priester, Patrick, Henderson, whoever they want. That, like, so then it comes to the offense. Jackson Chourio gets ignored as one of the young stars of this game. I think he's been 2020 his first 2 years. He's 22 years old. I think there's more in there. He hasn't had the full season come together. William Contreras is one of the best catchers in the game. We know who Yelly is. Frelick and Terang are like day in, day out what you're going to get from those guys. Maybe accumulation-wise, it might look different depending if you're tracking pure stats or WAR. But, like, I just know what this team is going to be year in, year out, that I think they deserve a little more respect than, like, well, here come the 10th place Brewers again, and we know they're going to be good. Like, this is a really good team, and I believe in it.
I love that you put them there. I do, Coach. It was a very difficult ranking for me. Because it is true. Like, you're like, oh, they lost Freddie Peralta, but when you go down there, Woodruff was a dog last year when he came back. I, too, am a Mizorowski truther. I can't wait to see what he does. A guy like a Chad Patrick, who doesn't even really get talked about, like, he's nasty as well. Like, we know they're going to pitch. Like, they just figure it out year in, year out. We know that. I do also like the lineup. I know you're an Andrew Vaughn truther. We'll see. I don't know if he's going to be a 1-dot guy this year for them, but I like it. So, I mean, this was a difficult one for me. I had him at 10, Coach. Yeah. I had to make sure they're in my top 10.
I get it. Like, there is an argument, like there kind of has been in previous years, that talent on paper and power is power, that, I get it. And, like, Trev, I know you and I were laughing and we were like, when we were talking about doing power rankings this weekend, we were like, okay, like, should we throw this in the AI machine and see what pops out?
I should have done
I did a couple sims just to see what they were saying. And, like, Dude, one of them had the Brewers as like a bottom 10 team. And I was like, okay, AI, you're losing.
AI you just crashed the stock market right there. Way to go, Jake.
That like however we view teams, we're doing it wrong with the Milwaukee Brewers. Brandon Woodruff since 2020 in 93 starts has a 2.81 ERA. I respect what they built there, and I just think as you start looking at teams' weaknesses and what could not work for them during this season, the Brewers, I don't know. That's where I was kind of surprised. I'm just not scared of anything pitching-wise because they are so ahead of so many other organizations that I think they're going to pitch, and I know they're going to play defense, and I know they're going to grind every day, dude.
That I don't know if I have them 2, but I think they deserve to be higher than 10.
Like, remember who they were last year?
They won the most games in baseball.
Yes. And like, I don't know. Freddie Peralta could hurt.
I love my 10. I like your 2 more than my 10. You're going to hate my 3, I think.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
As I'm going through the rosters, I just keep thinking there's this one team that I think has a very, very high ceiling. And I also think they have a high floor as well. And to me, I can sometimes see the future. You know that, right?
Yeah.
I think this team is in for a hell of a year. They
Really?
completely overhauled the roster. I like the fundamentals that they have there. I have the New York Mets number 3 in my rankings, coach. I love the lineup. I know Lindor's banged up right now, but if you're just talking about Lindor to Soto to Bichette, and then you got, I know a lot of people don't think of Jorge Polanco, middle of the order guy, but a solid bat behind these guys, up and down. I think the bench got better this year with the guy like we got Vientos. Like, where is he going to play? But if he's on your bench, Tyrone Taylor coming in there to play center field when need be. I like the rotation. You get Peralta and McLean might end up being like one of the better 1-2 punches in all of baseball. And I don't think people understand, like, Clay Holmes pretty good last year. Kodai Senga, before he hurt his hamstring, I mean, he's an ace. He's a freaking ace. I know it didn't end well with him last year. That's fine. You can have recency bias there. He's back throwing 97 miles an hour in spring training. His mechanics were all out of whack after that. They have other guys coming up as well. Some of these young pitchers, and Jonah Tong, could he be the 5th starter, pushing his way up that rotation by the end of the year? Yeah, he definitely can. I like the back end of their bullpen. It just, everything kind of clicks for me right there. And there's just something about the vibe, man. I just think it's going to be better this year. They didn't want to continue to do like the same thing over and over again because it wasn't working. And I like the changes that they made. So I'm going the New York Mets, number 3.
Highest ceiling, lowest floor potential.
I don't think their floor is that low.
I do. It's the Mets. Like, I realize there's a little bit of that's messed up, and hey, new Yankees Jake saying that, but literally look where we left off. Look where we left off. Like,
they didn't make the playoffs last year.
It happened again. And we did all this, and Cohen, man, like, the Mets are different. They got Soto, and they got off to that hot start, and we did the whole thing. Brewers with money. And then the same thing happened that I've seen happen in that uniform, and that fan base has seen happen in that uniform. That you're not wrong. Like, talent-wise, I'm in. And that pitching can be really impressive. And if they have their couple young guys on offense click, I mean, that lineup can be an absolute wagon. The bullpen scares me.
The
bullpen, because Devin Williams and Luke Weaver basically got replaced at the back end of the Yankees bullpen last year. Like, literally. And then after that, I kind of like seeing the young guy that I'm like, ooh, if this guy clicks, they can take over. no offense to Brooks Raley or Luis Garcia or Brazoban, they're all 36 plus, and I think I kind of have the scouting report on them that it's just a dangerous mix. It's a dangerous mix.
It's going to be Tobias Myers in the 8th, Devin Williams in the 9th, Luke Weaver as the guy that's putting the fire out. That's what it's going to be.
Hey, man, the Weave Dog, when he's right, is sick. Obviously kind of got the wrong impression from Devin last year. I see what you're saying, but I don't know. I didn't know what to do with the whole NL East, man. The NL East,
the Mets.
NL East and the AL East. So we kind of did a Brewers-Mets swapsy here.
Okay.
I had the Mets at 11.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
I know.
This was my one pick where I was like, man, I know this is not going to go over well, but I'm just forecasting, coach. I'm forecasting into 2026. I'm not letting the Mets, as Metsy as it gets, enter my brain right now as I'm looking towards the future.
I mean, that lives in my brain, sadly.
It does. I think you coined it.
I don't know what to do with that. Make sure you guys do with code TALKIN2026, 10% off your tickets at SeatGeek. The Mets also have Simeon, Luis Robert, a couple guys that have done it and not done it. Yeah, man, it's all over the board, and I guess I get nervous because you can point at a lot of teams, and there's a lot of young guys that are they going to do it or not, or is this guy going to bounce back, or is this guy going to be healthy? The Mets have a little more than that than I like. I like that you like the vibes though, and you're a vibes guy. That's it.
There's something clicked, man. So. It could be way off. We could be looking at these preseason power rankings, like you had him at a 3, coach, or I could look like a genius.
Well, the Mets and the Brewers are our two at the top big separators. We each have them at 10 and 11, where we have them at 2 or 3 opposite. Then we start to, I don't want to say come into lockstep here, but you have the Blue Jays 4, I have the Blue Jays 5. You have the Cubs 5. I have the Cubs 6. Yankees, Tigers, we both have 7 and 8, but reversed. So that I guess the bigger talking point against these kind of recent powerhouse teams, I did put the Phillies at 4. You have them at 6. So I guess it's not a dramatic gap, but the Phillies have been like, I think they were last year's like, if someone's going to take the Dodgers, it's these guys. Again, the Bichette situation where they thought they were going to get him. We thought they were going to have a big shuffle, and they kind of didn't. It's just interesting that it currently feels like this Philly season is going to be dictated by young players like Justin Crawford, Andrew Painter, that just hasn't been the vibe in Philly at all.
Yeah, to me, it's the back end of the rotation that's going to determine kind of how their season is going to go. Like I like the lineup is the lineup. You know, bringing in Adolis Garcia as an upgrade over Nick Castellanos. I'm in. I mean, they've kind of been shuffling through center fielders. So Justin Crawford, like we'll see. I mean, they're saying like he's going to get every single chance to have that job. We'll see how he does. But you know, we could end up kind of playing that game again where we're just trying to figure out who's going to be in center for them. I don't mind it. I think Edmundo Sosa is a guy that probably doesn't get enough love, and I'm curious to see like kind of what playing time he gets this year. But yeah, the back end of the rotation, especially we're missing Wheeler for a little bit right now. Obviously, love Christopher Sanchez. Love me some Jesus Luzardo. Like, what is Aaron Nola? I think is a valid question now. Obviously, a guy that's done it throughout his career, but you know, not so much last year. Is he pitching for Team Italy?
Yes, sure is. Sure
Can't
is,
wait
pal.
to see that.
Nola.
I love that. Yeah. But yeah, then in the back, yeah, what's Painter got? You know, is Taijuan Walker just kind of like a depth rotation piece? If he has to end up being like your 4 or 5 guy, I don't necessarily love that. Although he's also playing for Great Britain.
Yes.
Can't wait to see these guys.
Patriot.
I love the back end of the bullpen. Thinks it's a great team. But yeah, I mean, I don't think where I have him is like a disrespect.
I think Taijuan Walker's Mexico. I think so.
Yeah, that's it. That is true. Yeah.
No, it's weird. It is weird looking at the bottom of that rotation and Taijuan Walker, who's kind of, I don't want to say has been on the outs, but you know, has been the man left behind in this Phillies rotation in the past couple years, and now it just feels like, wait, he's in the middle of the rotation. And Andrew Painter, who's supposed to have ace stuff, like, hey, if that clicks this year, that obviously changes things, but sometimes it takes a minute. I think their bullpen is a little underrated at this point. Duran Alvarado, like you mentioned, he's back and no suspension this year as you think about the upcoming postseason. Brad Keller fully broke out as one of those like starters who's made a beautiful transition to the bullpen. Kerkering, who unfortunately is going to get remembered for the wrong moments. Banks is a lefty to have in the bullpen. Like, if you just go through their big chips, I'm a big chess guy. Like, Christopher Sanchez is still a really big chess piece on the board. The top of their lineup are all powerful, dangerous pieces, and that bullpen's good. They're like, the Phillies feel like they still very much have their identity, and I just can't picture them slipping as an organization. But we would have said the same thing about the Braves last year. So that's where the whole NL East freaked me out with this exercise.
Agreed. And I do think all these teams are kind of jumbled up. Like, you have the Blue Jays 5, I have them 4.
Yeah.
To me, there's not a lot of I think they have one of the higher floors in all of baseball. I like what they did with the rotation, bringing in Cease now. I think you have a top 3 there with Gausman, Cease, and Savage. That Savage is nasty.
Yeah,
he's going to be a guy. So I think they're. I don't want to say they're sure things, but that's something that you can rely on. And then you have Barrios and Ponce there at the end. That's not a bad back end of the rotation. I'm curious to see what Cody looks like coming back to the States. The bullpen kind of freaks me out a little bit. If there's one qualm I have with the Blue Jays, it is that bullpen. I think their offense is going to be their offense. I don't know if they're going to be as good as they were last year, where they were first in average, first in OEP, third in OPS, fourth in runs. But hey, prove me wrong again. I like Jesus Sanchez. I've been a truther, a mini Jordan there. Let's see if he can put it all together. But yeah, lineup's great. I like the rotation. Bullpen scares me a little bit. I love Louis Varland. Tyler Rogers bringing that low arm slot. They're trying to do all that type of stuff. Hoffman can be good. Did have a great year last year. So if I'm pointing to one thing, it would be that. But I still think overall roster, it's complete. They have a complete roster.
Yeah, the bullpen doesn't freak me out that much. And kind of cool. We mentioned that Fangraphs, they have some of the fielding stats listed now, and Toronto has made an effort in previous years. Like, their outfield, I remember when they first started putting out their oh my God, defensive outfield. And now that infield, and that's for me, that's the question. They were the top offense, or first in average, first in OBP. So, hey, maybe David Popkins, who we talked about, they got this whole thing figured out. When you look at it, I think it's fair to say, you don't think, wow, most impressive offense. But it really was, day in, day out last year. They deserve the respect. You could say, can Springer do that again? Could that infield feel just weird without Bo Bichette? I think so.
Is this not reminiscent of the Brewers offense?
A little bit.
Where no one's standing out. Obviously you have Vladdy and Chiriot and Yelich on the Brewers, but the rest of them it's just a good mixture of contact look, who knows what Addison Barger's going to do this year. He might turn into an absolute beast, but They just kind of do. They all have their own skill sets, and it kind of works together. They're a ball club.
Yeah, if anything, the rotation, I don't know. Cease's first year, Savage trying to put together a full year, there could be something there that, and again, Toronto fans, we can pick apart. After the Dodgers, you can pick apart any team in that fashion. We both still have them around the top. The Cubbies, I think the conversation, we've talked about them a lot this offseason. Obviously, the Bregman move was significant. Still, the way they handle pitching just freaks me out a little bit, although they deserve credit there. And I think Cubs fans are probably sick of me saying that. But, as we look at some of these elite teams to see Boyd, Edward Cabrera, Cade Horton, Imanaga, Jameson Taillon, I don't know. You kind of want to see that guy. You want to see the Chris Sanchez, or you want to see Wheeler, or you want to see Ohtani. Every team wants to see Ohtani. I love their lineup. Their lineup feels so show, dude, that I think that works. I think like the whole emphasis they made, like we're bringing in Alex Bregman essentially because he's a dog. Essentially because he brings it every day. And so does Ian Happ. And so does Seiya. And so does PCA. So does Bush, like maybe the most underrated player in baseball at this point. That like, or maybe that whole right side of the infield is just having that argument between Horner and Bush. That like, I think this recipe just works. The pitching, I don't know, maybe it's Justin Steele comes back and he's that guy for them, and that makes me feel a little better. Their whole bullpen basically did a remodel that, again, there's part of that feels weird, but I believe in what the Cubs are doing now.
They addressed everything they needed to address. I debated putting them at the 3 spot, like kind of flipping them in the Mets. I do also love this offense. I think if you're looking for, I don't know, like a 1 through 5, I'll give them that. I don't know if you can find 4 better teams than this. Like their offense goes because Michael Bush is that guy. And I do think Alex Bregman makes a difference in a lineup. And then Happ, Suzuki, all underrated. I think the biggest mover of the needle for this Cubs team will be PCA and like what he brings offensively. If he's PCA of the first half, they're such a different team.
Yeah.
And he struggled mightily during the second half. And what does that do for a kid's psyche? I mean, he's saying all the right things and he's juiced up in the offseason. There's no doubt about that. But when the lights come on again, like what are we going to see? I'm a believer. Like he's shown that he can do it. Now there needs to be adjustments, a ton of swing and miss at the end of last year. So like, we need to get back to some contact oriented stuff with him, but he's a dog. He'll work. He'll do it. I'm in on this team. They're actually, like you said, this whole like 2 through 10 was very difficult for me to rank, but I think we got it right.
The Cubbies it's interesting, and the PCA point goes to like what his upside is. Remember, he was an MVP candidate. Like we were doing, like, wait, is he going to finish with 7 or 8 WAR?
We were talking about him being better than Julio.
That it is funny, and I think the phrase I've run into that made me laugh with the Cubbies this year is, at almost every position, it feels like they could have the second or third all-star. Like when they do like the 30 guys down the line, and it's like, oh, Ian Happ. Like the whole Cubs lineup could be the 8th inning of the all-star game. And I think that's a really good thing to have.
Are they the best up the middle defensive combination in the league? They have to be, right?
Dude, are they the best up the middle? Are they the best left side? Are they the best outfield? Like that's where this Cubs team can be very impressive. And maybe that's the biggest perk that their pitching has is like, hey, strike them out or let them put it in play and let any of these guys go to work. I like the NL Central. How do you like that? We're going to get to some of that. Today's episode is sponsored by PSA. Those baseball cards you've had since you were a kid, the ones sitting in your closet or wherever they're hiding in the basement. What if they're worth something? Stop wondering and find out with the help of PSA. With the PSA app, you quickly scan your cards to find out their estimated market value. Then you could ship them to the hobby's #1 authenticator to get them graded and ready to sell. From there, you're seconds away from listing them on eBay, accepting zero-fee cash PSA partner offers on eligible cards, or you could store your items in the PSA vault. No taking pictures, filling out long selling forms, or dealing with potential buyers. Just one app, one shipment are all it takes to go from sitting at home to graded and listed for sale. Step up to the plate, turn your cards into cash with the power of PSA. Head to the link in the description. Use code BASEBALL25 for $25 off your first grading submission. Terms apply. All right, Trev, in that next, as we kind of finish off the top 10 now, in that secondary 5. I mentioned the Tigers and the Yankees. We both had them 7 and 8 flip-flopped. And then let's see. Those are the only aligned teams, and that's where I mentioned this coming in. 9 through 15 gets similarly as messy. I guess let's do Yanks Tigers quick. I think the Tigers conversation for me is pretty easy. Like, not only have they kind of done it, that division is weak, and Skubal, Framber, JV, like I think the Tigers are maybe the safest bet to make the postseason. It's just what version are they while they're in there. Riley Green is underrated as like kind of a young star in this game. And then for the Yankees, I mean, they're still the Yankees. Like I know the offseason wasn't flashy, but who they could be at midseason is pretty impressive. And they did have a big trade deadline that maybe I just drank too much of the Kool-Aid this offseason.
As far as the Tigers go for me, I'll start there, Pop. And maybe I'm just like wrong about this, but it's still like they address like the pitching is going to be great. The offense to me is like, all right, like what can this be? I think there is a high ceiling and I think there is a low floor for this offense. I do. I think there's a couple guys you can bank on. The fact that, Kerry Carpenter's kind of not a platoon guy, but he's not going to hit against lefties. Still a great player. Yeah. I'm banking on him to have a great year in on that. Riley Green is that guy. After that, to me, I'm like, all right, like we could see a bunch of guys with 780 OPSs. We could see a bunch of guys with 690 OPSs. So I'm not bought in on their offense completely. I agree that it can go, and it also, I think, has a decently low floor. But other than that, they have Matt Vierling, so that's sick. Yep, and they clearly went after starting pitching and really kind of shored that up. And they brought in Kenley Jansen, which is like, I don't think even anybody remembers they brought him in. And go look what he does year in and year freaking out, dude. So in on the Tigers. Where'd you have him? You had him at 8. I had him at 7. And then for the Yankees, I think people don't give enough credit to their offense, and it's not just Judge. Like they have guys that can do it up and down that lineup. And I do believe I believe in the rotation being one we talk about as a top 5 rotation in baseball, maybe even higher than that by the end of the season. So
I would like that.
I'm with
Coach
the Yankees.
Trev. I would like that. Let's see. Rounding off your top 10, you had the Brewers at 10, as you mentioned. I guess the next team for you would be the Houston Astros, which you had at 9, I had at 12. And again, like I think for this next section, as we go through these teams, I think at the top you kind of have to like draw your opinions and be like, well, I like what the Cubs are doing, and my whole Milwaukee speech, like that whole deal. Trev, in this area, and you can include the Yankees and the Tigers, like Baltimore, Atlanta, the Red Sox. I genuinely don't know how you just differentiate. Like if there's something that jumps out to you, let me know. I guess Houston for you kind of was your team you took a chance on.
I don't know if I took a chance on them, Coach. I mean, they basically played all last year without Jordan, and they get him back. You look at this lineup, like Christian Walker can't be as bad as he was. You get Jordan back. Altuve actually had a really nice year last year, which I think in a lot of people's minds he just struggled, but he, go look at his stats.
Offensively.
Offensively, yeah. I mean, he's not grading well out at second base anymore. That's fine. I don't care. Like let the guy bang a little bit. Jeremy Pena is a stud. Like this. They have a nice lineup here, and Jordan anchoring it is only going to make them better. I actually don't mind their starting pitching either. From all accounts so far, Amai in spring training, people are like, this guy is an absolute stud. Now we heard he's a wild card, and we'll see how that goes. But I believe he's going to try to make as best of an impression as he can in the big leagues to start. And that's kind of, been the problem with him, as we've heard some things. Mike Burrow's coming over. Like they have enough depth. I don't know what I'm counting on Lance McCullers Jr. for. We'll see how that goes. But with Hunter Brown, Javier, Amai, Burrows, and a couple guys behind them, I can get behind that. Love the bullpen as well. There's just not a lot to dislike about the Houston Astros. Like I could see this team going and freaking running the West again, even above my number 2 Seattle Mariners team. Like that wouldn't surprise me if they were neck and neck all season long.
Their rotation makes me a little nervous. Like I believe in Hunter Brown. I think that breakout passed the eye test and every test. After that, I mean, who is Javier now? What is Amai like in his first season? McCullers, Burrows, and Weiss. Like again, I'd like a little more. I could stamp the table and be like, I know what that rotation is going to give me week in, week out, and I don't. And maybe it does. Like what Burrows could be. This season's a big test for Houston to see. They barely missed the postseason last year, and like you mentioned, they didn't have Yordan. That okay? What would we be saying about them? That I mean, maybe they're still those guys. They've got some depth pieces between second year Cam Smith and like it. If something clicks in the lineup, they're dangerous. They got the bad man at the end of the bullpen. Like I can obviously see how it works, and I had them. I had Houston at 12, so we're not very far apart there. I guess in this section, the team I took a chance on was the Atlanta Braves. And I don't know. I just still believe Ronald Acuna only played 90-something games last year. Who he just is as an offensive profile player is special. They have the new manager. They have a little bit of a Drake Baldwin, is he going to take it to another level? And if he doesn't, okay, well, Matt Olson or Austin Riley, do that thing you do. Profar missed the first half of the season. It's still there. Ozzie Albies, Michael Harris too. Those can be elite guys at their positions. That the question comes to the rotation, and it's a lot of its health. And let's be honest, it's currently scary, but if Chris Sale's out there, second year Spencer Strider, that should be a thing. And I kind of like the back end of their bullpen. So, and I just feel like they just wanted to turn the page on last season in June. That all right, well, now you've got it. You've got a new season. You've got Ronnie. Prove that you can still be the Braves.
I wanted to put the Braves a lot higher. We talked about them throughout the year, the offseason, how this is going to be our no doubt smash the over button on this team. People are going to forget how good the Braves are. And then they went and they've already had more injury issues. And so I actually have them, I believe, at 14, coach.
It's crazy.
I would have, without that, they're a top 10 team for me. I don't think that's fairly obvious, but again, that's what haunted them last year, and right now they're already dealing with those injuries. Schwellenbach and Waldrop having bone spur surgery, so not TJ, which is good, but both elbow issues. So that was tested. The depth is already being tested in the rotation. Hassan Kim already out at shortstop, which is another, it just seems to me like we're just seeing this over and over again. A healthy Braves team is a top 10 team for me. Right now, they're not exactly healthy. So I moved them down just because of that. But I do believe, especially in this offense, top of the rotation, I want to see Spencer Strider come back and be that guy. I truly hope he is. Chris Sale, congratulations. Just got an extension.
Yeah, of course.
Boy.
Braves Foundation.
So they're there for me. The back end of the bullpen, Iglesias and Babo Suarez.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good. So I'm in on them. The injuries moved them down my list. Probably will be a pick that I regret.
They didn't have a strength last year. And if you look at their lineup at 13th, basically, if you look at their pitching is 20th, and they just should be better units. And that Braves offense, we should respect more. It should open up games with Ronnie, Olson, Riley, Baldwin, Profar. I don't know. I still have to believe in that talent. And Ronald Acuna's stat page has been my favorite to look at this offseason. Can't believe he has a career 381 on base. It's silly. It's just silly. Okay.
I'm going to give you my 11. Because I'm so curious where you put this team. Okay. My 11 is the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah. I have them at 13.
Okay, you're close. I was
Yeah.
curious because they're another team. Like I think I might be more in than a lot of people. You know, they didn't have the off season that everyone was expecting there. They brought some guys in. You get Caleb Durbin in that lineup now, which is going to be. I can't wait to see what he's like. I think Boston people are going to absolutely love this guy. Also, Wilson Contreras comes over. Your guy IKF, which I don't think a lot of people are too stoked about in Boston, but it's all right.
Come on.
They added to the rotation. They have one of the deeper pitching staffs in all of baseball. Aroldis Chapman's still absolutely firing bullets at the back end of their bullpen. But Crochet, Ranger Suarez, although he gave a freaking massive bomb to Connor Griffin. Did you see that thing?
Sure did.
Holy shit.
Sure did. That got it.
I'm buying all Connor Griffin's baseball cards right now, people. I'm in. It's the only prospect I've ever believed in my life.
Wow. That's big.
I think this Red Sox team has a chance to be very, very, very good. Where I look back and I'm like, I had him at 11. So, I guess it's the Red Sox nation. I don't think is as stoked on their team as I am, and I guess I'm wondering why. It's a pretty damn good team.
Well, it's the Bregman situation, which is also
it's
Bregman,
a
carryover from the
Devers. Yeah, they're mad at the front office, but you still have a really good team right in front of you.
Well, and that's where the exciting thing, if you're a Red Sox fan, should be, I think this team's strength is its pitching. I think you look at Whitlock and Chapman at the back end, and that can go with a lot of combos in this league. And then, like a lot of bullpens, those 6th, 7th inning guys, it's kind of who's hot at the right time, that every team figures that out. That if my concern with the Sox, because, dude, Crochet, Suarez, Gray, Bayo, Oviedo, we got young pitchers fighting for spots between Tolle and Connolly Early and some of these guys. Like, I think the Sox can pitch. And if I think a Red Sox team can pitch, watch out. Because the offense does not jump off the sheet, but Red Sox teams find offense. The ballpark they play in is conducive.
It's a pretty good offense, coach.
I think Roman Anthony, we're both checking the box. Like,
we're getting a full year
about to be a dude of dudes of dudes. After that, I think there's more question marks than you normally expect to see from a Red Sox lineup, especially a Red Sox lineup coming off of having Bregman and Devers for years. That's going to be the question. Like, if this is a top 10 lineup and Contreras is playing monster ball and Wheelier is living up to his baseball card, Duran and Trevor Story stays healthy, like, I think that is a big sneaky part of this team, then yeah, we're going to be talking a lot of Sox, kid, but there's a lot more maybe in the lineup, and that second half can get a little, I don't know. The offense finds a way at Fenway that I would look at that as glass half full for Sox fans.
I'm a big believer in Wilson Contreras there. I think he's going to make a massive difference. I think Jarren Duran can be that guy. I love Wheelier Abreu. I mentioned Caleb Durbin. I think he maybe is the biggest. If he goes, they go.
Caleb Durb?
Yeah.
The Durb?
If he comes in and figures out like that park and kind of like the city rallies around him. I'm doing a little fan fiction here. City rallies around him. Shades of Dustin Pedroia.
Easy.
What? How can you not make the comparison?
I think the bigger thing you should be going for, we believe in hot boys. Roman Anthony, Marcelo Mayer, and Caleb Durbin. Why'd you laugh?
Jarren Duran
kind of gets overlooked, which is crazy. And maybe my Trevor Story thing is wrong, because they'll just be like, hey, Rafaela, why don't you play shortstop? Now we've got a place for Yoshida to hit. Like, the Red Sox, their path is kind of clear. It just feels I wish there was one more power bat I could bank on, like a 30-homer season.
Sure.
But so does every team. Speaking of that, and another conundrum I had, and Trev, this ties in to your Mets at the 3 spot and your Boston ranking. I'm in on the Baltimore Birds this year. I had them as my last top 10 team. I put them in the 10 spot. And part of them is Pete Alonso. And it's time for our Traveler check-in, brought to you by Best Western. we highlight a player who was on the move this offseason, and we got to see Pete the Meat go big fly already for this Baltimore Orioles offense. And yeah, man, for me, that took a couple points away from the New York Mets in my head. It took a couple points off like the Boston Red Sox. This was a potential landing spot for him, and he goes to Baltimore, and I think he fits that team perfectly. We've talked about it a lot. Sneaky Taylor Ward, like they added some right-handed pop. Trevor Rogers and what he did last year was scary. That the question for Baltimore is the pitching. Here's Pete. Don't hang it there to Peter, because that's what he does. Samuel Basallo, some of his projections are kind of crazy this year as like someone who could break out on the scene. For me, it's the pitching. And like, I got hurt by this last year, but Rogers, Bradish, Bassett, Boz, Eflin, Kremer, Tyler Wells, I think we have enough in this team after a horrific start. Wasn't as bad as that like I'm in on them.
You have them 10?
I had them 10. I had them as my last top 10 team.
Don't mind that. I think all these teams are kind of jumbled up. I have them at 13.
Yeah.
And no real reason why, between 10 and 13. I do believe in this lineup. I think there's a lot of guys, like you said, there's a mixture of proven track record guys and then guys who I think have the potential to kind of like step up this year, which is kind of the sweet spot that you want to be in with your organization. Is we have our guys that are tried and true. We have young guys that are hungry. Now we have these veterans teaching them. We think they can take the next step. Basallo is one of those guys. Obviously Holiday is banged up right now, but he's another one of those guys. What's Blaze Alexander going to do in that? Is he going to take it and run with the opportunity?
Dude, I guess that's, as I've looked at these teams, the Orioles have the most easy valves to turn on. Got lost in what's that giant dam in Vegas? The Hoover Dam.
The Hoover Dam.
If you want to get lost on YouTube one day, look at how the Hoover Dam works. Pretty wild. And some of the emergency systems they have set up. Dude, okay. Could just Pete Alonso being Pete Alonso change how this team feels? Yep. What if Adley Rutschman goes back to being, a B player? Never mind the A that he was for a little bit. What if Tyler O'Neill is healthy and goes nuts? Like, what if Dylan Beavers is a guy? What if they have so many valves that could potentially turn on this season that I just think a couple of them will, and that's going to be enough for them to be a good ball team again.
Can I rain on your parade?
Please.
Just a little bit, and it's probably why I have them lower. And last year, 24th in runs. Starting pitchers, 21st in WHIP. Relievers, 28th in WHIP. Defensive run saves, OAA, 24 or 23, take your choice. Like, this was not a good team last year.
I know. But a lot of that was like 6 weeks of baseball.
I don't know, Coach. You play 162
I know.
games.
I know. Bro. I guess I see a lot of that as upside because I think the offense.
I couldn't put them in my top 10. I agree. I'm in that. I think they could go. I couldn't do top 10.
That's fair. That was all brought to you by Best Western. Today's episode sponsored by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Life's a trip. Why not make the most of it? Over 4,000 hotels worldwide. Best Western is there for every detour, destination, and unexpected turn along the way. A great stay isn't just about where you sleep. It's about the journey that gets you there. And if you stay for 3 nights at a Best Western, you'll receive a $50 gift card to use on your next stay. Best Western has it all. Whether you're traveling solo, whether you got the group, whether you got everyone, Best Western will take care of you. So go check them out. Life's a trip. Make the most of it. BestWestern.com. I frequented the Best Western in Chicago last year. Very nice spot. We doing that again? It felt like we were in Chicago every weekend last year. We'll see. All right, Trev, in this, okay, so as you know, tier lists are all the rage these days. We kind of just checked off that second tier of Red Sox, Orioles, Braves. I think the Giants deserve a conversation. I'll let you Another team that we have a massive gap on.
Yeah, I know. So, this is an interesting one because I don't have great reasoning for it.
Nobody does, but in the same way you do.
So, like the reason you have the Brewers 2 is because they just do it every single damn year. The reason I have the Guardians 12 is because they just do it every single damn year. I do not have a great reason for them to be 12. They won 88 games last year. They actually took the AL Central from the Tigers. So, like, again, this is a team that just figures it out. Like, there is no names like in the entire rotation. Say you want Gavin Williams to be a guy. I think he can be.
Yeah.
Like, okay, great. But after that, we're talking about a guy like Tanner Bybee, who sometimes you call him Tanner Vibey. Like, sometimes he goes out there and looks great, sometimes not so much. Is Joey Cantillo is he gonna step up in the rotation and be a guy this year? But you're just not gonna find a great reason why to put this team at the top of the Central to approach winning 90 games, but they find a way. I guess the one great reason is Jose Ramirez. Okay. After that, I don't really know, Coach. I don't really have a reason for it, but ball is ball. And these guys just figure out a way every single freaking year. Maybe you point to Stephen Vogt. I don't know what it is, but they do it. So, I mean, there's no way I could put this team 17th or 18th and knowing what I know.
Yeah, I fought it. I just fought it. And I'm sorry, Cleveland, and everything Trev said is right. And the other spin zone for you would be they were a bottom 2 offense last year.
Yeah.
So if they become the 20th offense in baseball, they probably win 90 games, like 90 plus games last year. I know. I guess I doubt the pitching just a little bit, and I know that's dumb. I know that's foolish. But like,
where'd you have them?
They were my one team that I got messy with. I put them at 20th.
Okay.
Like, with power being power.
That's fine.
I know it's fine, but it's also not. Like, it's so not. Because I know it's going to be wrong. I know they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know. It's the roster itself doesn't get me jazzed up. But man, if that offense does anything this year, if Quan can tick up, if George Valera, Chase DeLauder, I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's the whole point is you don't need to. You just let it happen.
Because they play good defense.
They're going to catch the ball, yes. The bullpen is going to be good. They're going to protect leads. They're going to win. Now I need to know, what were they in one-run games? I'm going right now.
Undefeated. They go undefeated in one-run games every year because they play defense.
I'm getting it up.
Throw the ball.
5, 4, 3, 2. Not as good as you think.
So that
26 and 20.
That's pretty good. That's good.
I don't know. I expected them to have like at least a 600 winning percentage in those games.
They're one-run games are tough. I mean, you can't really.
Last year, Coach, they had a 577 month, a 519 month, a 360 month. In June, they went 9 and 16. Yeah. Then another 538, 519, and then they ran off a 20 and 7 in September.
It's where you start getting into. It's where you start getting into the baseball gods, and you're like, "What the hell is that?" And like, I could knock the 20 and 7 against them. I could say that's the coolest thing they have. That they said, "All right, let's win every game down the stretch," and they almost did. They're a loophole in this exercise every year, and I was contradicting myself having Milwaukee up but Cleveland down. A part of that is a team I like in their division. I think there's as we got to start chewing through these a little quicker. The San Francisco Giants and the San Diego Padres, I just kind of lumped them together just because I have to. I have them at 14-15. The Padres were really strong last year. I feel like the cabinets are getting cleared out just a little more each year. Like a little, one guy gets plucked each. And hey, again, like Dylan Cease was not fantastic for them last year, but It's a lot of innings. Bobby Suarez, but their bullpen is still one of the best in baseball. So
they had a lot in the cupboard there.
A rise like that's going to be a good test of what WAR means. That like they deserve respect as a team.
Yeah, I think 93 wins last year. Is that what it was?
They won 90.
They won 90?
Yeah.
The Dodgers have 93 wins last year?
Correct.
Oh my gosh.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I have the Padres at 17, the Giants at 19, and I think for the Giants, I just need them to prove it. I mean, they've just been a 500 baseball club for 3 years now, and it's just they're kind of like a middling team that should be better. The Padres I've always just been high on, and then it kind of doesn't happen for them, and I don't think they're getting better. So I put them down the list a little bit there. My team that I am unsure of, that I think could go a lot of different ways, is the Texas Rangers. I have them at 15.
Okay.
Jake. Where did you have them?
I had the Rangers at 18. They kind of tortured me last year. I still, talent-wise, I believe they're better than that. And, hey, you could do the whole spin zone that they had some clubhouse stuff, and hopefully that's sorted through now in this next season. But, yeah,
they can't be as bad as they were offensively this year. They cannot be. We're talking 26 in OPS, 22nd in runs. If you just look at that lineup, you expect them to be better. A lot of lefties in that lineup, which I think should work out well for you, except in late games if you face some lefty lane of relievers. But this offense should be better. You got Nimmo there. And I think you're going to get some uptick from the rest of the guys. They can pitch. That starting rotation is so fun. It's so fun. DeGrom, Eovaldi. Now you bring in Mackenzie Gore, Jack Leiter. I think his last 13 starts pitched to a 3.28. So he's got it in the tank. What's Kumar Rocker going to be? They have all the recipe there. I think this is one team where, what do I have? I have them at 15th. This could be a team we're talking as an upper echelon team by the end of the year.
I love their talent, and I actually, when I was doing this exercise, I didn't click their team page, because when I do, I let out a sigh that I'm just damn, man, this is a team that I feel like if things go right, they could be a top 5 team, and you're talking about the best rotation. I kind of like where their bullpen is landed. I know we were weird on that for a little while. And their offense should be a plus. They should be at least a top 15 offense, but it was horrific last year that they're so young. Wyatt Langford is what, 23 or 24. Evan Carter is 23. These guys can make that next step. Langford can play defense, 775 Langford's
OPS
good.
last year. Evan Carter, 728. I think he's got much more in the tank. These are guys who you can say they're going to take that next step. And if they do, I think the Rangers, like you said, we'll be talking about them as a top team. They are probably my most difficult to rank team, the Rangers.
I agree, and this is where divisions get weird too, that I still give Houston their credit, and so did you. They deserve it, and they can easily point to things last year not working that could work this year, that almost they get the nod above Texas, that, as you start, and that's where this exercise gets really sick in the head, because, in that NL West, you're splitting between the Giants and the Padres. I want to believe in what the Giants are doing so bad. I had them one spot above the Padres, that when you get to these second or third teams in the division, I don't really know what to do with them.
The Padres starting pitching scares me a little bit. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Top of the rotation, I'm in on it. I'm a big Pivetta believer. Are they going to keep him around? I'm curious about that, because he could demand, a pretty penny for his services. I like Michael King, but then after that, there's a lot of question marks. Obviously, the bullpen's going to be there. The offense kind of lets me down year in and year out. They were decent offense last year. I always think we're going to get more. We need more juice out of that club. And they didn't really do anything to change that. So like I've been the biggest Padres supporter over the last couple of years, and it just hasn't really panned out for me. And I agree with you with the Giants as far as, you look at what they've done and what they're trying to do. They're another team we've probably rated too low, but we got to see it. Like on paper, this should be a top 12 baseball team.
Yes.
But they just have not been that over the last couple of years.
I have 2 AL teams I want to hit you with that I had a mini panic and have kind of gotten me excited. They ended up being my 16th and 17th team. The 16th isn't that much of a hot take. I think the 17th is. I have the Royals and the Rays back to back. You had the Royals pretty far down on your list. You had them 22. Their rotation, I think, is still there, and Cole Reagan's back at the top of it. Like, I think we kind of forgot, he's got like young Cole Hamels type energy. That Reagan's, Waka, Bubich, Luga, Noah Cameron, who kind of broke onto the scene, like, they can throw the ball. Estevez, Urseg, Strom, Schreiber, I think that bullpen can throw the ball. I think they catch the ball. I think they have a high upside at the top of their lineup with Bobby Witt as obviously one of the best players in baseball. And then Michael Garcia, Vinny P in the corners, like Jack Kaggs, if that happens. I'm in on the Royals. I'm more in on them talent-wise than Cleveland, and I realize that could be dumb, but I am. I like what they have.
Agreed. I don't love that I have them at 22.
Okay.
But again, at this point, you're just kind of like, all right, like where, I guess, ceiling-wise, yes, they deserve to be higher than 22. I know you're kind of selling me right now.
Yeah.
Like, look at the roster. I did see this team play last year, and I wasn't like super impressed by them. Like I called a couple different series, and they just didn't impress me. And a lot of times I go by that. Reagan's being back obviously changes a lot of things. I agree with you. The talent on this roster. If Caglione can figure it out, we're talking about a 1 through 5 there that can kind of rival anybody. Because Michael Garcia is a dog. We know what Bobby Witt can bring. Vinny's going to do it. Bringing the fences in, baby. Sal's going to get you 30. And yeah, they can catch the ball. You're right. I probably have them ranked too low.
Did we mention they're bringing the fences in?
I did. I've mentioned it many times. If you ever fucking listen to me on this show, gosh,
that was good. That was good. That was an all-time clip. Now you're thinking. Because you got a chance to give some AL Central love here.
It just didn't impress me that much when I saw him.
I got you. I think Reagan's co-Reagan.
Where do you have him 16? Don't act like you had him top 10.
No, but 16 to 22nd, that's a gap, Trevo. And then the Tampa Bay Rays, again, 17 and 21, so a little less of a gap there. And this is full disclosure for the listeners. We did the Rays team profile and projection the other day, and I was looking and liking more than I thought. That one of the phrases we ran into is that they've got a little more Rays of old. Like Rasmussen, Pepio, McClanahan, Martinez, Matz in the rotation. It's kind of funky, but it's kind of Rays, and I think their bullpen is back.
Griffin Jack's coming over as a beast. He's a beast for them.
Their bullpen looks real. Like, okay, so these teams we're talking about in this area, like pitching and defense can bring you a long way. It felt like the Rays got away from that for a little bit. Their pitching wasn't as strong. Their defense definitely wasn't. It seems like they've trended that way with a little hint of like Aranda and Caminero of righty-lefty combos. Those dudes can beat you up. Second part of their lineup super thin, but doesn't that sound like an old Rays team? Like, hey, these big guys at top can mess with you. They're going to pitch and play defense. second part of the lineup looks weird, but then one of those guys gets the 2-out RBI hit and you lose to the Rays. Like they have a little more of their recipe this year.
Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched those episodes, you did say one team from the 21 to 25 tier of the fans rankings will make the playoffs. And I think that's where we're at in our exercise. Like this is when we get down to this level of teams, it's, between 15 or even 14 and 22, like they all have their pluses, they all have their minuses. And that, I think, we got to see the game's got to be played, and then we'll figure out kind of where we're at. Preseason wise, it's really hard to rank all these teams. Tampa, I actually had them higher, but then Dalton convinced me to put the Diamondbacks higher, so then I kept moving my teams around.
Okay, here we go.
I think my original list I had them higher.
Here we go. Now it's getting
he was
real.
like, you can't have the Cardinals. I'm like, okay, hold on, let me rethink what's going on here. And like I said, where we're at is an interesting one, because I have a team that I'm curious where you put them, because they're at the highest 19. I have the Cincinnati Reds.
So I was just
16. That's not a big gap.
I was just gonna do. I think there's like 3 teams we've ignored that I think have genuine playoff hopes right now. The Reds, who made the playoffs, just like a quiet off season, kind of. I don't know what to do with that. And okay, in the Central, if you believe in
Gino,
if you believe in the Brewers, if you believe in the Cubs. And I think the team that now piggybacks with the Reds is, how do you feel about the Pittsburgh Pirates, who you're higher on than me? You had them at 18th. I had them at 24th. I'm just not bought in on them until they make me buy in. And by the way, one Connor Griffin swing, bought in.
You bought in, didn't you?
I might be bought in. So
how about 2 Connor Griffin swings from yesterday?
That'd be nice. I think the 3 teams that have the biggest gripes that we haven't really discussed yet, it's the Reds, who have tortured me the past couple seasons, a la Texas a little bit, because I do like their talent. The Pirates, which it's just a matter of actually believing in them in the first time. And then I do think there's just an A's conversation, because the talent offensively is so impressive. Today's episode is sponsored by Rocket Money. Organizing your finances can feel overwhelming, and the amount of time it takes can feel like a burden. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. With Rocket Money, you can set budgets and goals, get personalized insights and regular reports, and receive real-time alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, refunds, and low balances. Rocket Money will also help you track your subscriptions and give you the ability to cancel unwanted subscriptions with just a few taps. The app consolidates checking, savings, loans, and investments into a single convenient dashboard. Users are able to get a clear view of their finances and set goals. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/talkin. That's rocketmoney.com/talkin.
Where am I starting here?
I'd say start with your Pirates. Or do Pirates and Reds together. They're in the same division. They have different formulas.
Yeah, honestly, you can almost say the exact same thing about what's going on. Like the Reds, their strength is their starting pitching.
Yeah.
I think the Pirates' strength is going to be their starting pitching. I think it's a little deeper with the Reds, so that's why I kind of gave them the nod. I think Chase Burns is going to break out this year and be an absolute dog. And then we're talking about Hunter Green, Andrew Abbott, Lodolo, Burns as your top 4. It's pretty damn good. And Brady Singer just kind of waiting there in the wings. The offenses for both of these teams are underwhelming, but we got a couple guys that could change that. Like if Gino comes back and hits his 40 homers, what does that do for the Reds lineup? Like, can Ellie truly put it all together and be the guy who we think he can be? Like, can Matt McLain have a bounce back year? Like, there's a lot of question marks in the Reds lineup.
So many.
There's so many. Like, I need Noelvi Marte to be that guy. Like, there's so many. But you can say the same thing about the Pirates. Love their rotation. Love Connor Griffin. The rest of the offense it's suspect. But I want to believe in the Pirates and they went out and made some moves in the offseason. You bring in O'Hearn, you bring in these guys, great. Like, are they, Kyle Schwarber who you went after? No, but you made a good swipe at free agency, if you will. And if they bring this guy up and he is who he looks like, Connor Griffin, it could change things. Does it make them a playoff team right away? I don't think so. But I'd love to see it.
I'll tell you what, if I got to leave 2 asterisks on teams that my heart is just too hurt, it's Texas and the Cincinnati Reds. The Cincinnati Reds could have the best rotation in baseball. And that's kind of nuts. And how far off are them in the Pirates? That's what I don't know. And then I go into this NL Central chatter where I'm like, don't we do this every year? And the Brewers just the Reds are their play toy. They just, let's play 7 innings tight and then we'll win the game. It feels like mean pickup basketball or something like that. And now that the Cubs are back, those 2 teams are just on such a separate tier that it feels like they check into the Holiday House. There's 2 really cool bedrooms, and the Brewers and the Cubs take those, and then the Reds and the Pirates are fighting for the bunk beds. And I just don't know, man. None of them jump out to me, and I want them to.
I didn't really get that one.
Well, because you get the nice bed.
You fight for the bunk beds.
Because you get the nice bed.
Yeah, but the bunk beds, they're the same bed.
Exactly.
Always want top though.
Exactly.
I don't want top bunk. I want bottom bunk. If you're gonna climb up the fucking top bunk.
If it's a fun vacation, that top bunk can play. You're also being a little body matters there. And that's, me and Rob, we sacrifice for the team in that moment.
I had bunk beds growing up. My brother and I shared a room. My entire life, we shared a room. Even when we moved from that house, I had a bed that was I don't know why I had wheels on the bottom of it. So I'd wake up and my bed would be in a different part of my room because there was hardwood floors and we just never addressed that. I don't know what happened.
I like that.
But bunk beds, I was always bottom bunk.
Really?
And you can draw. I had you could draw on it. So I had some crayon on it.
I like that for you. I mean, Marshall, Big Bro's a big guy.
Big guy.
He was top bunk?
He was top bunk.
That's why you didn't like the top bunk. That's too much guy up there.
That's where he stayed. What were we talking about?
The Pirates and the Reds.
Go, man. Bilal, Adelise. No, not Adelise. Marcel.
I regret these words every year. The Reds can be really good. The Pirates can be good, comma. But every year it feels like it doesn't happen. And I guess it's the beautiful part of this sport. Because you're right, dude. Chase Burns, Lodolo as a 4-5, those guys can be all-star game. Those guys can be all-star game.
I had the Reds in front of the Pirates, right? I did. Okay, so did you. All right.
Yeah. And then respect-wise, they deserve that. The A's is the last team, I think. And again, it's not out yet, their team profile and projection, but I don't know, man. You rarely see a lineup that could be that good that you'd like to think that matters, but there's also a chance their pitching is not that good, and that could matter.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the same thing we talked about. The lineup is great. The pitching is not. Where do you have them?
We both have them at 21. I have them at
23.
23. So yeah, I mean,
I'm excited to watch the A's. Every time I get a chance to watch them play, I will, because they have fun players on their team. They just don't win a lot of baseball games.
It's kind of scary. They have a couple, if McNeil does what he did last year, if a Muncy steps up or Butler gets back to form, then their offense can be a full season of Kurtz.
I know.
They can be.
You could also say, is Kurtz going to be a one-dot guy this year? Is there a sophomore slump coming?
Yeah.
I've said that he doesn't look like one of those guys. He looks more Jordan than a guy that's going to get beat up his second year.
Because, I mean, dude, if you actually get in his numbers, he was a 1.1 guy for a lot. The bottom of the list, and I'm sorry to these fan bases, and Power Rankings is a place you probably didn't think you'd get discussed. Marlins, I had 23, you had 24. Cardinals, 25, 26. White Sox, Twins, Angels, Nationals, Rockies, a consensus bottom three that it's
Where'd you have the Twins?
I had them at 27, you had them at 26. So
if Pablo Lopez isn't hurt, I probably have the Twins approaching a 19 to 20. You could dream. There's some guys there, Coach. Luke Keyshaw, look out. Mac Wallner, breakout season, look out. Royce Lewis looks healthy, look out. There's a core of offensive players, not to mention they have a guy named Walker Jenkins. It's this absolute stud.
That's sick.
Pablo Lopez getting hurt really stinks.
Well, I guess
you heard it here first. They're going to be better than you think.
Ew. I don't know. I hope the White Sox start having fun again. I think they have a chance. I think the White Sox and Twins are going to be closer than you currently think. And
where'd you put the Snakes?
I had the Snakes at 22. You jumped them to 20 with Dalton's peer pressure. The Carroll injury freaks me out. That pitching freaks me out. Being that old in the corners freaks me out. Arenado, Carlos Santana.
That doesn't freak me out at all.
I know it doesn't. Well, that's you're an old in the corner. That's why.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong at that, and we come back and we're like, we didn't talk about the Diamondbacks at all. But I
think Dalton kind of convinced me. I mean, bringing Gallen back, it was big for them. So I don't think the pitching is as bad as you think it is. And then there's a chance like this offense. Yeah, we need Corbin Carroll in there, obviously. Yes. But that's not a season-ending injury. Like, he'll be back playing ball. Like, the offense to me, like, all right. Like, I believe in a little bit of Nolan Arenado resurgence. I do. I think he was overplaying for the Cardinals. Just wasn't the right fit for him. Carlos Santana can be a dog. Dalton convinced me. I like the D-backs.
Dalton just flashed the bullpen, and then he threw up a little bit, which I found a little rude. I will say the rotation is meh, has more hope than they've had in a little bit. Like, I don't know. So I hope that becomes a fun story and Snakes are alive again.
Give me your Kansas City Royals versus the Diamondbacks rotation. What do you got?
Royals easy.
Okay.
I don't think it's a fair fight.
Okay. Yeah, probably. Trying to think of a good one to compare them to.
Diamondbacks rotation and
Rays?
Padres?
Ooh.
I guess Gallen's their upside guy, and I think Gallen's going to be good. But, like, Erod's best case at this point is a 3-4 starter. Ryan Nelson, 5. I don't know. I'm not excited by it. Dalton comes in. He wants to compare them to the Baltimore Orioles. Rotation-wise.
Some olds, some prove-it guys. Okay.
I think I'd prefer to have the Orioles.
Yeah, me too. Especially with Bassett in there. I like Bassett. Rogers probably has more upside right now than any of those guys in the
Rogers and Bradish. I think his name gets him ignored.
Yeah. Bradish. Dalton, bad job.
Wow. And that's what we need. After he worked on the sheet for us, that's a nice place to land it. I don't know, Trev. We covered a lot there. I guess we didn't talk about the Giants really much at all because they got lumped with the Padres, and it's because we've talked about them a lot too. And, like, basically their whole thing is laid out there. Like, these guys are dudes, and this is going to work, and we're a better team, or they're going to be this weird, like, Giants cost a lot of money. But what does it mean? I think it's going to work. I really do. I have them over the Padres right now, and that could be dumb. A lot of ball, Coach.
God.
A lot of ball. I guess everyone in the comments, you've already let us know what we got wrong, but let us know again. We thank you. Power rankings, tough this time of year.
Tough.
A lot of hope.
Scherzer back to the D-backs. Let's go.
Oh. Jake sucks. Rumor mill. Not true.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not a true statement yet.
Is he going to do the wait till mid-season thing? I love that.
Oh my! Is he play banana ball till mid-season? Sick.
I don't know if he's wired for banana ball.
No.